Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Breathing Cast. I am your host Hannah, and in today's episode, New York has elected its first Muslim mayor. His name is Zohran Mamdani. We also have a Muslim mayor here in the UK, Sadiq Khan, and he was elected in 2016. He's currently serving his third term as the mayor of London. He won't budge, he won't leave. And so today, I wanted to forewarn New Yorkers, as a Londoner myself, about the dangers of the Islamization of a city and how voting results can be permanently skewed in favour of a growing Muslim majority. And before you know it, it's not going to be New York, it's going to be New Yemen. But before we jump into today's video, please remember to give this video a big thumbs up. It boosts it in the algorithm and you can have more representation of your values in the media. Also, share this video with a friend. Let's jump into it. So, who is Zohran Mamdani? He is the man set to be the Democratic candidate for New York City mayor, and he's making history as he is the first Muslim nominee. Now, Sadiq was our first Muslim mayor. It was very exciting. We never had a Muslim mayor until Sadiq in 2016. It's now 2025, and he's still there. It's like I see the uncanny similarities between New York and London, and I'm like, oh no. Now, get this, Zohran Mamdani was not actually born in the States. He's born in Uganda. He came to America when he was like 7. He was born in Uganda. Why are you mayor? I don't know about you, but I feel like in order to represent people politically, you need to be born and raised in that country. 7 years old still might be very young, but I just think as a principle, you should be there from birth into adulthood. Otherwise, what are you doing? He's Muslim and South Asian, just like our mayor. And I'm beginning to think that New York could succumb to the same fate as London. A city that's Muslim population has expanded to beyond the point of recognition. And Sadiq just does a bad job at governing the city. Over 80% of burglaries go unresolved, and knife crime has been soaring these last 5 years. Why? Sadiq is soft on crime, and instead he wants to crack down on speech. He wants to police speech, he said in a statement. So he said there were things that can be done by responsible social media platforms, but added if they don't sort their own house out, regulation is coming. So regulation to people's tweets and not for knife crime on the streets. Black boys are getting needlessly stabbed every single day. People getting robbed and burgled left, right and centre. But Sadiq cannot seem to combat the growing concerns for millions of people in the city. I believe, and I've said before on this podcast, I believe there is a strong racial and religious pact that Londoners have made with Sadiq Khan. And so much so, they're actually willing to overlook poor policy because they want Muslim representation in politics. And particularly a mayor who is pro-Palestine. A lot of London is pro-Palestine. So Sadiq Khan is like the obvious guy for the job. There are strong, pious communities of Islamic people in London. The people are willing to make sacrifices politically. If it is the unresolved burglaries or soaring knife crime rates, they're willing to make that sacrifice because people, unfortunately, are blinded to identity politics. And it's not just strictly observed in people with Asian or Islamic identities, but it's also seen in black people. And I'm going to use this example because you're Americans, you're New Yorkers, you would know about Obama, right? Obama was heavily popular with black people. Americans voted him in, and it was a victory for black people. It was a celebration of black identity. But then voices emerged that began to criticize Obama for his policies, for his inability to make significant change economically across the black community. People like Candace Owens, people like other commentators on Fox News, and they were lambasted by the Democratic Party, by Obama supporters, because they did not fall in alignment with what the Democratic narrative was on race in politics. To this day, black American conservatives are ruthlessly attacked, doxxed, and harassed if they do not fall in line with the established idea of blackness in America. It took a lot for black people to exit the Democratic Party, and I think it is safe to say that there has been a significant black exit of the Democratic Party because we saw the largest voter turnout of minority groups for a Republican candidate in the most recent presidential election. And that really speaks volumes to the significant shift transformational shift in the way that people perceive their ethnicity as it pertains to political policy. But that took a lot of work. So I just want to say, be cautious. Be cautious about celebrating someone and supporting someone because of their ethnicity. You're excited, a first Muslim nominee. Because as soon as you do not fall in line with what they espouse or their policy proposals, they will throw you to the wolves. Mercilessly. They'll say you're not black. They'll say you're not Asian enough. They'll say you're not even a Muslim, or whatever. They'll say whatever you want to say. And this is exactly what we observed with Sadiq Khan. He self-victimizes on the grounds of his Asian and Islamic identity. He's not popular with Trump. Trump made some criticisms of him. And Sadiq said this was not because he's like a really bad mayor and he poorly governs London, but it was because he has brown skin and he's a Muslim. Let's take a look.
How did it feel when he kept coming for you over and over again? It's personal, right? Let's be frank. If I wasn't this colour skin, if I wasn't practicing Muslim, he would not come for me. He wasn't coming for me because I'm 5'6", right? He's come for me because of, let's be frank, my ethnicity and my religion. So it's incredibly personal.
So Trump dislikes you because of characteristics you have no control over? Snooze. I think it's about time that you take some responsibility for the fact that people dislike you because of your values and your failure to resolve the most pressing issues for Londoners. And I think it's cheap, I think it's lazy to blame it on your ethnicity and to blame it on your religion. What you're currently celebrating as a milestone of multiculturalism, having a first Muslim mayor, could eventually become your downfall, okay? Because if you want to speak out on Sadiq, you want to speak out on soaring knife crime rates in New York, well, I don't know about knife crime, you guys have guns, you cannot just make that criticism of him. You're going to be obsessing over race and identity 24/7 and not actually get to what New Yorkers want for their city. Because you're Islamophobic. I want you to know that. If you disagree, you're Islamophobic. It's just sad that we still ascribe to identity politics in this day and age. People will always fall into that trap because they love their heritage and they feel like it's important to have that represented in politics. But where do you draw the line? Because if you're telling me I'm Islamophobic because I dislike Sadiq Khan, I would like you to know that I actually couldn't care less about his theology in discussions about the governance of the safety of the average everyday Londoner. I'm not going to ask him about his opinion on the Trinity when people are getting needlessly stabbed every single day. Could you imagine that at a press conference? Oh, Mayor Sadiq, do you believe that God can be the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit at the same time? I thought we were here to discuss grooming gangs that target black boys or target white girls, because both are happening, and he is only choosing to acknowledge one. He's only choosing to acknowledge that it's happening to black boys, but he doesn't choose to acknowledge that it could be happening to white girls in London. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not relevant, it's not necessary. The only trinity that I'm asked, the only theological trinity, the only trinity or triune question I have for Sadiq would be, Sadiq, can you increase stop and search powers to combat rising knife crime rates? And can you acknowledge the presence of grooming gangs who are systematically targeting white English girls and systematically victimizing white English girls? Can we conduct an inquiry into those grooming gangs, a national inquiry, at the same time? Can you do 1, 2, 3 at the same time? Not is God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Well, that's a different conversation. Come meet me at Speaker's Corner and we can do that one. But if it's Parliament, if it's politics, that's a different situation. Right? And I know New York has a lot more to worry about than just knife crime. You're allowed guns in your country. So you need someone who's going to be even tougher on crime than Sadiq. You don't need someone softer on crime, right? Right? In theory? In theory, right? Especially when you have people like this on the New York subway.
Amtrak. This is an accessible station. The elevator is at the center of the platform.
When you have people like this on the New York subway, can you afford to have a weak mayor? Is my question. I'm not going to tell you how to do your politics. I'm not going to walk to America and tell you what you need to do in your country. I'm just telling you what happened in the UK and that you could succumb to the same fate if you're not careful. So Zoran Mamdani proposes a Department of Community Safety to deploy mental health outreach teams in high-need areas like the subway system instead of relying on more police. So a therapy campaign in order to combat violent public disorder. is what that sounds like to me, what it sounds like to me. Now, I don't know what your previous Liberal mayor was doing, but I know this one will have a unique layer of protection because of identity politics, and a unique layer of protection that is afforded to him as the Muslim population expands and grows exponentially in your city. Because New Yorkers, you think your Muslim population is a minority now. You do. I looked at some of your stats. Your Muslim population is 9%. What you didn't know about the time that that stat was recorded was that 9% were all pregnant. Some of them were twins, some of them were triplets. These Muslim women are outbreeding you. If that stat was recorded like 3 or 4 months later, it wouldn't be 9, probably be like a 10, 20%. Over exaggerating, but you know, their population is rapidly increasing. It's the reason they are the fastest growing religion. You think it's 9% now, blink once, blink twice, and you're going to have, like London, 3 million Muslim people living in New York. It will happen quickly, right beneath your noses, whilst you guys are all doing hookup culture and like, oh my gosh, I hooked up with this one guy because your shows and your television series like Friends popularize casual interactions with men. Muslim people are outbreeding you. Your culture will die. Your New York culture will die. All of the traditional New York things will die because while you're too busy in hookup culture, these Muslim women are getting married and they're having kids. Wake up, New York. New York. You are being outbred. Sadiq gets street cred for hating on Trump. Mamdani, I'm sure, will also get street cred from his voter base for hating on Trump. Why Trump funds Israel's war in the Middle East. And this is in direct opposition to the Islamic faith. They are not in support of this. So it's popular across the voter base, or the liberal voter base, to hate on Trump for his foreign policy. After attacking your US president, calling him racist, Islamophobic, bigoted, hateful, all of these things, he had to quite embarrassingly U-turn on all of these comments in an interview with LBC once Trump was elected. But you're going to want a mayor that can cooperate with with their political opposition, regardless of their beliefs or their deeply held beliefs. Because in a world where political disagreements are guaranteed on every single issue, foreign policy, national security, whatever it is, maintaining respectful bipartisanship is key to a healthy democracy. Why is it fair that British citizens like myself, who didn't vote to be, tariffed by Trump, potentially are facing potentially facing these tariffs, and we saw our GDP contract significantly because of some of the tariffs that Trump imposed? Why do we have to suffer from that? Because the Labour Party nearly sabotaged our relationship with the United States. And it wasn't even just the mayor Sadiq that had to do the apology tour. Keir Starmer had to do some grovelling. David Lammy had to do some grovelling as well. A lot of our members of the Labour Party did not respect their political opposition, and then they're surprised now that they have to do this major U-turn. But there's some good news. If you forget to set your alarm in the morning, don't worry, because you can wake up bright and early to the Adhan, the Muslim call to prayer. These are the scenes in East London. This comment says, "Welcome to Londonistan, Saudi Britannia." You know what I love about Islam? If you forget anything that you learned in school, you will actually learn again through immersion, through being, immersed in the culture every single day. The food, the people, everything and I love that. They have the best restaurants. But yeah, there was some British fella that probably woke up one day and heard this adhan and thought, what is going on? And he saw this. The culture, it's not that the culture isn't, you can't respect it or whatnot, but your New York culture will die. And I say die, it'll be slowly replaced, and you'll be pushed out to the suburbs. Loads of white people just leave and they go to the suburbs. They go like to the Midlands, they go further south, they might go to Brighton, where there's more white people in Brighton. Because white people in London are a minority. Did you know this? Well, I did a street interview and I was trying to ask people what made them proud to be from their country. And if I bumped into a white person in London, this is like central London now, they were like Eastern European. They were like German, Hungarian. I was like, I found one English woman with her white daughter in the whole, like we were out there for like 2 hours that day. And I could not find English people in London. I was like, I think they're a minority. And then I found out that they were, which is insane to me. Londonistan. And you know what? I kind of like it because I've always wanted Pakistani aunties. And I now have them. And I'm really excited to say that, Pakistani aunties, because they cook really good food. What you know about chicken biryani? If you've not had chicken biryani, I don't think I had an Asian colleague. She was Pakistan. I also have an Asian neighbor. They teach me about okra. They teach me about that chicken biryani. It's so good. It's so good. I've told my audience before, stop being so frustrated about the Islamization of England. If you're not having children, you're not starting a family yourself. A lot of people are frustrated about the insurgence of the migrant population in the UK, if it's illegal migration or legal migration. And I always say, well, what are you doing? Because the government can't do anything. We are too heavily legislated by foreign and external bureaucracies like the ECHR or the High Court. And we simply could not even send one of our illegal immigrants to Rwanda. It just couldn't happen. So what are you doing? What if all other means of democratic processes have been exhausted and demonstrated to be inefficient or ineffective? What are you going to do? Have more kids. New Yorkers, have more babies and vote differently and have more babies. Boom, boom, boom. Also go to church on Sunday. That's more important than any advice that I can give you. This Sunday, 11 a.m. Because what are you going to do? Tell Muslim women to stop having kids? Muslim women are single-handedly rescuing the declining birth rates in the West. Did you know this? We are having we're on the brink of a catastrophic population implosion because people are not having kids anymore and population growth is exponential. So exponentially, you're going to lose your population. Exponentially, everything that you love about being a New Yorker, New York, Nicki Minaj, New York, be gone. I get that you're excited to have your first Muslim mayor. We were excited too. And then he's now been our only Muslim mayor, and he's been there since 2016. It's going to be 2026 next year. It's nearly 10 years. Against all odds, a mayor who is failing to resolve the most pressing issues for Londoners is still there. And I genuinely believe it's because people have a blind allegiance to him and a racial and religious pact with Sadiq Khan. They are willing to overlook bad governance because of representation. It's identity politics. It happened with you and Obama, and it's happening here in London, and now it's going to happen in New York. No matter how badly he governs the city, he will not leave. And one day, you're going to wake up and you're going to hear the adhan. And you're going to be like, where am I? What is that? And there's going to be a comment underneath that video. It's going to say, this is New Yemen. New Yemen. If you enjoyed this one today, like, comment, subscribe, share with your New Yorker friends, your New Yemeni friends, and I will see you next time. I think I'm going to see you on Monday or Tuesday. I'm finally juggling the work schedule and the podcast schedule, so this is working. We're doing it, okay? Also, what do you think of my flower? If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. What do you think of my flower? I was going to ask you in the beginning, but I didn't want to lose engagement because people might not care about the flower. I got this from my garden. I know. And the leaves, it's all real. This is all real. I just put some glue dots and stuck it on the wall. I got into flowers recently, and I wanted to do some decor because I was thinking, the books are just so old books, you know? I love books. I can't believe, I'm sorry, I hope they didn't hear that. But I like this flower. And I think it's a rose. I don't actually know the names of any flowers. Oh, that's a lie. I know like the names of like 7 or 8 flowers, but I just like how they look. Like I'm not a horticulturalist or anything, but I just like flowers. I will see you. Bye.